A very good afternoon from what is here in Manchester today. An odd kind of day. Fortunately, in Britain, as we are a country that has weather rather than a climate. So, you know, if you live in California, you'll know exactly what I mean. You have a climate there, the weather is fairly standard. But here, what has happened over the last 3 days, something like that, the weather has completely changed from being this glorious early summer, blue-skied, raging hot Manchester to typhoon conditions. That's all I can actually say about it. The wind has been wailing, the rain has been dropping, the clouds today are raging across the sky with massive winds, although all I can see looking out the window here is grey moving clouds with a little bit of sunshine peeping through when the wind causes a break. So I have no idea what's going to happen, but we'll wait and see. As the title of the video says, I'm going to talk about COVID-19, this coronavirus thing. I have questions. Now, I've tried really, really hard to stay away from this because everyone's talking about it. You know, you don't need another bozo on YouTube talking about it. But I need you to answer some questions that maybe I've got, or you to give me your ideas of what is happening. So let me put in a little bit of background before I actually go on to my, I suppose it's a bit of a rant. It's not meant to be, but I think it might be. As I've mentioned relatively recently, I think, and certainly mentioned in my videos that I made before I took my sabbatical. Back in, I think it was 2001, I got pneumonia, which changed to pleurisy, which obviously had a quite catastrophic effect on my asthma. To which I was taken with blue lights and sirens by the ambulance to crash at my local hospital because the asthma attack from hell had struck. The doctor kind of really struggled, and it was just by sheer good luck that I'm sat here today. So that gives a little bit of focus to where I'm going. Now, this COVID-19 thing, there's lots and lots of figures floating around the world that hundreds of thousands of people have died. I think it's about 42,000 people in Britain who apparently have died from this. But what we've not seen is an actual breakdown of who have died. Now, let me explain. My opinion is, excuse me, that COVID-19 is a convenient cause of death that doctors can put on a death certificate, and maybe, sorry if this sounds like a conspiracy theory or an alternate theory, as I call them, have they been told by governments to use that as a cause of death on death certificates as much as possible to underpin measures that have been put into place to force us, the people, to surrender our freedoms without any backlash from us? And there can be no argument that that's exactly what we've done. We've just been told here in Britain that we must stay in, we must self-isolate, and we've gone, yeah, not a problem at all. Don't worry, you can't interact with people. Okay, that's fine. You can only shop for what's necessary. Oh yeah, no problem at all, and all that. So, what I mean by a breakdown is, let's take me for an example. If I caught this virus and I was rushed into hospital and I was on an intensive care unit, I would be in hospital because this virus has caused a huge asthma attack, and that is what's put me on oxygen and potentially just waiting to die. So what will actually be my cause of death is the asthma attack from hell, as was when I had pneumonia and pleurisy. So the breakdown I want to see personally is age range. We've already known that it's not really affecting very young people, it's not really affecting teenagers, and it's not really affecting people generally if you are under the age of 30. Once past 30, you are very unlikely to get it, and the only people really who have to worry are people with underlying health conditions and the elderly, whose immune systems are not as good as they should be, perhaps. So the breakdown I want to see is the ages of the people who are dying, underlying health conditions such as asthma or heart disease or COPD, or they've smoked all their lives, so they have bronchitis, or they've been in a dangerous industry such as mining or whatever else, or they've had to remove asbestos or whatever. Apparently this is quite a bad thing for obese people, so I'd quite like to see what the breakdown of that is. Different ethnicities, well, the different ethnicities are affected more badly than others, so that kind of thing. So my question is, talking to anybody wherever you are, do your countries publish lists to keep you, the people, those who put the MPs, members of parliament, senators, governors, whatever, in power, informed? Do they do that? If so, where are you? If so, what does the list show? Is it a full breakdown? Are you convinced from seeing that breakdown that what is actually happening is actually what's happening, if that makes sense? What I found, because I've got asthma, I have to err on the side of caution. Having been there once, I don't want to be knocking on death's door again. So, I've been very careful. I haven't worn a face mask. I don't really socially distance from anyone because I'm kind of self-isolating to a certain extent. I'm going out when I need to go out. I'm going to go out this afternoon, get things that I do actually need to eat. So let me tell you what I've seen. No one, when I say no one, I mean 0 people ill or showing any symptoms, coughs, sniffles, so on and so forth. 0. Now that could be that there are so many people ill that they are all in hospital or self-isolating at home or whatever. I've seen very, very few people wearing face masks. Some, yes. Many, no. As we in Britain have been made aware, wearing a mask will not stop you from getting the virus, and it will impede the transit of the germ from you if you cough to somebody else who has not got the virus. Now, they've not said that it will actually stop somebody else getting the virus, they just said that the face mask will just impede you passing it on. When we go shopping, when I go shopping, what I experience is that enforced, people are forced to stay 6 feet apart. But once you get into the shop, it is impossible to maintain that distance because shopping aisles in Britain's supermarkets are not that big. I would say 8 feet between shelving, perhaps. So it's very, very difficult to maintain that social distancing. So I've not seen that people are maintaining social distancing, and they don't seem that concerned about it. There is no apparent worry in my community about this COVID-19. As I showed you, I think it was my first video when I came back, all my hospital letters. I am unfortunate enough to have to spend quite a lot of my time in 2 hospitals around Greater Manchester. I recently had to go and get some bloods done, more bloods. I'm surprised I've got any left. at my local hospital, which is Tameside General Hospital here in Greater Manchester. And I went for bloods, fully expecting, as in the past, sitting down, waiting with countless other people, taking a ticket and waiting for the phlebotomist, the person who takes the blood, to call me in and go and have myself bled. Well, when we got there, my partner and myself, there was no one on the main hospital corridor. Zero. And as we walked down the main hospital corridor, because the blood section is quite a long way from where I actually parked my car, all the offshoots where the outpatients clinics should be operational, zero people. So you've got all these people who should be going to outpatients appointments, people with cancer and people with MS, such as myself, who are not getting the chance to go to an outpatient appointment where you may well be worried about what's going on in your body and you can't talk to anyone about it, which I find appalling. We walked into the blood section, zero people there, so I just knocked on the door, went in, had my blood taken and left. The whole procedure was done in minutes rather than an hour and a quarter, which I would normally expect. So the question is, all these videos online talking about how overworked the National Health Service is here in Britain, and we're having to call in retired doctors and retired nurses to come and help with the crisis. I didn't see any crisis. So what's happening? And I know the argument can be made, well, all the nursing staff and the doctors, etc., are all on the wards. Yes, but surely you would see more activity of people perhaps being transported by porters to different wards or ICUs, or go and get an x-rayed if you think that they've got a lung infection or something like that. Nothing. Zero. The hospital was silent. And we see all these videos on Twitter, which I think arrived from TikTok, of all stupid NHS staff doing dances to disco songs and doing Mickey takes of Titanic and all that kind of thing. Well, if they're that busy, when have they got the time? So that's another thing. Are you seeing that where you live? Have you been into a hospital in Australia or America or Canada or somewhere and you found the same thing as I found here in the UK? You know, it's difficult for me to believe that what is going on at the moment is nothing more than an exercise in population control. Now, I know you might say, well, hang on a minute, Stuart, that's a little bit of a real conspiracy theory. Put your tinfoil hat on. Well, yes, but everything I see, all the evidence I see on a daily basis is no one's ill. I see no evidence of people showing any form of symptoms. I see no evidence of anybody else at the shops really taking this seriously. If it wasn't for signs in supermarkets and people waiting at the entrances, putting distance between people as they go in the store, I'm sure people would all queue together as they normally did, and nothing would be different. I'm seeing no evident concern from the population in my little pocket of Manchester of concern about this at all. All that I can see is evidence of is control of the population by installation of fear. That's all I'm seeing. And, you know, it doesn't seem as though this is going to go away completely for quite a while. I know certain things have reopened here in Britain from the 1st of June. But I don't see other things disappearing completely. I think the control of the population is something that the government of the day will quite like. So, where am I? Well, I'm waiting to see what actually happens with this, whether we get back the rights and the freedoms that we've lost. You know, you hear stories of people just sitting down reading a book in a park, Hang on a minute, I'll be back. Sorry, you remember I was referring to the typhoon weather? It's arrived. Weird. Anyway, I don't know what's happening. I am very, very concerned of the rights and the freedoms, all the stuff that we expect to be normal. As I was saying, you know, we've seen videos here in Britain on YouTube, on Twitter, of people being moved from sitting on the grass in a park, and there's no one else in the park, and yet we are fortunate in Britain that all these stupid, violent riots under the guise of protesting in America, we've not had that yet. But what we have had, we've had protest marches, you know, people verbalising their disgust about whatever, you know, but thousands of people crammed closely together. Where's the social distancing? Why are all those people not concerned about their apparent welfare in that situation? So, COVID-19, I don't think it's real. Or perhaps more correctly, I don't think that it is what they're telling us it is. I have no doubt that elderly people whose resistances perhaps are low, perhaps could have died from this, because even a severe bout of the flu clears a certain section of the community every single year without fail. I am worried that what COVID actually is a tool to make us concerned and controllable. People, as I've always said, are sheeple. They just follow. They just do as they're told, when they're told, and stop doing that only when they're told. And I think that's what's going on here. And I think our government are quite liking it. They will take from this that these people in Britain can be scared into doing exactly what the government of the day want. So that's basically it. I mean, as long as this typhoon rain goes away as I'm hoping it will, I will be going out later on today because I need to go out. You know, I'm not particularly bothered about social distancing. It doesn't seem to be having an effect here. But is it that Manchester's immune? I doubt it. But anyway, that's it for this one. As I say, I'd hoped to stay away from this. But as time has gone on, the itch to make me ask questions has just got more and more intense. So let me know. Let me know what your actual real world experiences are. Let me know what your feelings are. Let me know whether you're having kind of the same thoughts. You know, well, is this real? This is what's going on. So that's it for this one. Thank you very, very much for watching. As these days, I'm not particularly worried about getting subscriber numbers up. I'm just on here talking to the people who want to watch and getting the message out there about MS on certain videos and things. Next video is going to be a little bit different because I plan, if I can do it, I'm going to do it from my car. It's not a motoring one per se, but it kind of is. But you're going to have to watch that one to get the gist of what that is. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this sort of sparked a bit of interest in there, and let me know what you think. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.